Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me now? Shift left, shift right. Can you shoot? All right? Okay. How's everyone enjoying the conference so far? Very good. Learning a lot? Very good. I didn't hear that sound. Yes. Learning a lot? Yeah, there you go. I know I'm between you and the lunch, so I'll try to make sure that I remember that. But it gives me a lot of great pleasure to talk about boosting business agility through value streams and scaled agile approaches. This is some important topic to me, not only to me in a sense about that, I want to make sure that everybody understands this, but there are lots of misinterpretations, confusions around, buzzwords. And I want to talk about that. So a little bit introduction and talk about what business agility is and how do we differentiate value from value streams. These are two important concepts, not the same. And also establishing the connection through my own approach of how you can bring business agility here and with illustrative examples. So my name is Sriram Rajgopalan. I know for some of you it may be a mouthful, but think of the word number Sri, drop the T, put a yes. You can say 3, you can say Sri. That's me. Okay. So I've been in the field of project, program, portfolio management for more than 25 plus years right now. I established project management office in 2 different ways, level 5 project management office, and I'm currently working as an enterprise agile evangelist with Inflectra Corporation. I'm a fan of movies. You can see me dancing a little bit here. I'm a fan of movies and games. This particular talk, what is this particular target audience? It's for anybody who is in the field of development, test, management, adopting agile or DevOps kind of frameworks. And it's also for middle management who is trying to get into the subject matter expertise. How do I bring the flow here and stuff like that? And there are some important 3 takeaways that I have. There are 4 areas that really contribute to business agility. People don't think about that. And what are some of the specific elements within those 4 areas that you really have to focus on? Not necessarily at the same time, but definitely on all of them. And what are the futures that are supported for business agility within Spira, which is a platform that I'm really passionate about, a product that I'm really passionate about. And I'm sure you must be wondering, like, another conference with business agility, what are we talking about here, right? So let's get grounded on what business agility in the first place means. Why do we need this? Why do we care about business agility, right? If you take a look at some of the reasons behind going agile, the idea is that we put some time box, like 2-week iteration, 1-week iteration, 3-week sprints, whatever name you call. We bring those 2 to 3-week time frame so that the amount of work we will commit is limited, which means the risk exposure is limited, quality is supposed to be wonderful, people are talking, and that's the whole idea behind this. But let's take a look at the state of agile survey. I've been monitoring this since the day it was published, and I have picked the last 5 years. I dropped 2020, and after that, nobody talked about these things, primarily because of COVID. 2020, there was no focus on that. But if you take a look at these things, accelerating software delivery, that's been going down from 75% to 64%. Similarly, changing priorities. We are not able to manage changing priorities. That's still marginal, 2/3 of the time. And if you look at increased productivity, better business IT alignment, they don't exist. People don't talk among each other, right? And increased software quality, which is the very purpose why we said working software over comprehensive documentation as one of the Agile Manifesto principle, isn't there. So what are we doing here, right? So time boxing alone is not going to give you quality. If anybody is drinking from that Kool-Aid should be running dry. And the next one is team practices that we think, this is the definition of done, this is the definition of how we work and stuff like that. That alone will not give you quality from a business standpoint. From a business standpoint, we need to start thinking in terms of what is this value for? So agile is not a cure-all, it's not a panacea. So let's take a look at some of the engineering practices that we are all very familiar with. If you look at the engineering practices, again, I'm comparing the last few years. If you look at some of these things, the pair programming, continuous deployment, automated acceptance testing, code ownership, behavior-driven development, we have talked about all these elements. Emergent design using design thinking approaches. We have talked about all these elements, right? But take a look at what percentage that they are really being practiced. we're not even scratching the surface. 17%, 18%, 20%, and we are less than 1/3 pretty much on all of them, right? So these are fine, but not enough. We need to increase our momentum over there. I even had one person come and said, if you don't do deployment directly to the production environment at the end of every iteration, you're not doing CI/CD at all. That's CD, not CI. Right? There is continuous delivery and then continuous deployment. There are two aspects to the D also, but we are not paying attention to those things. Now, when you take a look at this section, we seem to do unit testing. We say we have coding standards, continuous integration, refactoring, test-driven development. But again, the trend is going down. We are not doing this as much as we used to do, or we are not doing this as efficiently and effectively as we are supposed to be doing. Why? Because there is tool A which has this, tool B which has something else, tool C which has something else, and somebody needs to manage these dependencies among themselves. We're not doing it as effectively as we should, right? So this is good, but needs major improvement. So pretty much all the engineering practices really need a big steroid shot, right? So where is the impact of all these engineering practices that we fail to do or not do as effectively as we should on the quality of the software we are releasing and the business quality and the end user quality, right? So team level practices definitely are necessary. Don't get me wrong on that. But they are insufficient for business value because people have to go and talk. There was one of the agile transformation experiences that I was sharing with a person. This person came and told me, the product backlog, you mean to say I can see this as a team member? Well, then what part of transparency, the empirical pillar, is present in your product then, right? So cross-functional agility, how we are all supposed to talk among each other is very important. That's the very purpose behind osmotic communication, how you talk and what nonverbal communication is getting picked up. That's all paramount to business agility, but we're not focusing on those elements. So in my humble opinion, Agile is a teenager. It's been around for 20 years. But agility still is a toddler, right? So some thoughts to ponder over here. So Agile predominantly focused on the team levels. Like a bunch of people come in together and say, what is the thing that we should do in the next 2 weeks, and this is what we'll focus on. That's great, but it did not actually emphasize how we are going to connect with this product. What is the business value? If we don't do this, what's going to be the business impact of non-delivery? The business impact of non-conformance. If we can't focus those things, what really are we delivering? DevOps focused on shift left and shift right. Why? Because we basically wanted to make sure that we are able to think correctly on what we are developing, and we are also able to think on how we are supposed to be pushing out the code, right? The men versus machines challenge that we have been talking about. But it never focused on how to shift up and shift down. How the product owners and the team architects are actually talking, what are the type of products we should be developing, what other things are happening in this company that I should really focus on, so that we are all aligned, right? So for agility to succeed, both value and value streams must be strategically aligned. And here is where people come and ask, well, are they the same? Value and value streams, are they both the same? That's not necessarily true. Right? I hope you are able to get some breakdown of these concepts here. So let's take a look at what is then business agility we are talking about. When you take a business agility definition itself, there are two major schools of thought. That's what many people think from a business agility standpoint. I'm not either promoting or saying that that's the right way, but scaled agile framework is one such framework. And if you take a look at that, business agility is the ability to compete and thrive in a digital age by quickly responding to market changes, emerging opportunities with innovative, digitally enabled solutions. I know it's a mouthful, but how do I act on this? As a team member, as a tester, how do I act on this? It doesn't give me that breakdown. And the next one is going to be the discipline agile delivery, DAD, which is now a part of PMI, Project Management Institute. And they define this as the ability to quickly realize value, predictably, sustainably, and with high quality. In the previous definition of scaled agile framework definition, business quality is implied, implicit. It was not even explicitly mentioned. So if you take a look at some of the patterns of what are some of the keywords that we really have to focus on, these are the 4 keywords that comes from scaled agile framework. And the same thing applies from business agility from a disciplined agile framework as well. But one of the important thing over here is the disciplined agile focuses more on value and quality. So it brings us down, getting us grounded, and this is what it is. You're not operating at 10,000 feet, you are operating both at 10,000 as well as 100 feet level, right? So you need to think in the details. So there is another institute called Business Agility, and they define the business agility is focused on all the individuals in the organization coming together for capabilities, behaviors, and the ways of working. What kind of capabilities do we bring to the table? We talk about those T-shape, E-shape, pie-shape skills, but are we bringing them here? And what kind of behaviors are we emulating others to succeed, others to follow, and ways of working? Code is no longer self-documenting. We know that. We need to actually write the actual documentation so that we are able to go and have somebody else support the code when we are not around. So what are some of those ways of working, even from an engineering standpoint? Those are important. Whereas if you look at the way business agility is oftentimes promoted, we need to have the freedom to do whatever we want. We have to have the flexibility of what is the sustainable pace. This sprint is 1 week, next sprint is 3 weeks, next sprint is 13.5 days. That is not going to be the right way, right? So we definitely need to bring our practice right here, capabilities, behaviors, and the right ways of working. So I asked already this question, isn't value and the value stream the same? People all the time come and ask me this question. So let's take a look at some of the thoughts to ponder. And I'm not saying there is a right or wrong answer. This is just for us to think through. Think about your product in your company. Does working software always generate profit? If it is generating profit, if you have a balance sheet for your company is promoting, or you are having a 10K statement or annual statement, where is your product's profit connected to? Is it under the revenue generation or under the cost of goods sold? We need to start thinking about this because that's when we are talking business agility, right? The next one, does agile team always mean agile business? I'm not sure what the right answer is, but you may want to start thinking in terms of in my company, in my product, how do we do, right? The next one is, does agile team implement every change that a customer asks? So take, for instance, some of the artificial intelligence models that are coming out, and we are releasing products like ChatGPT. Just because technology can do something, should we allow that technology to do something? Are we helping the customers, or are we actually hurting the customers in the way we are creating the products? These are thoughts for us to really think about and say, should we do what we do the way we do, right? So if you look at these things, there are some fundamental anti-patterns that are coming up. And let's review some of those anti-patterns to value delivery. First, framework hopping. This is one of my famous very interesting one. It's like, this framework doesn't work for me, so I'm moving to the next one. One of the things is people said, I followed Scrum, it didn't work, the sprints are not very good for me, so we moved to Agile. Either I don't know Agile and Scrum, or you don't know Scrum and Agile, and it's not correct. And we fail because we're not using SAFe. That's not right, because you're not moving from one framework to another framework, because if you don't learn and apply what you have learned, moving to another framework isn't going to be solving the problem, right? So this is like framework hopping, right? Quick wins. I tried this, it didn't work, let me move on to the next one. That's the thought process, right? The next one is busy versus value. If you are all actually very busy, then we should be creating value. What's your 2 weeks costing? 10 people working at the rate of, let's say, blended rate of $10, $100, let's say, 10 times 100 is going to be $1,000 right there. So your cost of iteration for one person, around 10 people for that particular thing, is going to be already $1,000. And if you put more work for 80 hours and stuff like that, it's going to be increasing. So what is the cost of value? So think about this. If you go to a supermarket and you buy a product, and they say we are developing this product using an agile approach. So normally it would have cost you $15 because we used an agile approach. We didn't know how many iterations it would have cost us. So we actually are selling this for $150. Will you buy it? I'm hearing somebody shake very, very wildly. Yeah, that's the point. Are we really busy or are we creating value? We don't know what to build first as a result of that. And that means you have to talk to the customers. We as a team member should be talking to the customers. And people come and tell me, oh, no, that's the role of the product owner. We don't talk to the customers at all. That person talks and does whatever that person has to do and come and provide this information. Not good, right? And always learning. We go into this mode of, Kaizen, continuous improvement, Kaikaku, radical improvement. We talk about all these things. And then we are trying to learn the same mistakes. Are we really learning if you are learning the same mistakes? And what about the comfort zone with the tools? I like this tool, so I don't want to change from this tool at all. There was one person who managed all their product backlog, not even on Jira, but only on Notepad. That's good. I love them, but that's not effective. And Excel still continues to be a big tool for test case management. Really? Have we not learned these mistakes from multiple tabs in Excel and making the connections, and you send that one in email, and I look at the wrong one, and another version is on the SharePoint? How are we learning here, right? So our transformations fail because we fail to lead. And I want to make sure that you are understanding this important statement. I'm not saying leadership is the failure. We are not demonstrating the required leadership at our level so that we are failing. So when we say leadership is the failure, the culture of the leadership is the failure for Agile not to work and stuff like that, culture is what we create. So if leadership is failure because of culture, we are the one who needs to be blamed. We need to be speaking up. Right? So what are then value streams? I'm trying to make sure that you are connected to the value. Now I'm moving to the value streams. Now let's take a simple example. Normally when you want to develop a product, you go talk to the market, find out what the market research is and what markets are telling, and from there you are developing a new product or modifying an existing product with new functions and new functionality, and finally you are marketing it so that everybody knows what we are trying to sell or release, right? Now, this requires product management to some extent, as well as customer support. These two things are not eliminated. We need to make sure that we are providing the appropriate level of support in project program management. We talk about this benefit sustenance. Right? These needs to be present. And the next one is going to be program and portfolio management. How are we supporting the potential problems that one group comes up with? How are we eliminating that so that other group is actually not impacted by this? If one group learned a lesson, how do we make sure that that lesson is getting promoted to other members? So this is what cross-functional point is. So that's part of program and portfolio management. Now take a look at this. The development value stream is at the bottom. This is what scaled agile, disciplined agile, those members come and say, this is the development value stream. This is the development value stream, which means, one team or one group of teams is working together. The next one is the operational value stream. How will this generate money? Whatever we are releasing, what are some of the compliance considerations that we need to keep in mind? That's where, cross-functional ideas are coming. Next one is the strategic value stream. None of the books, none of the frameworks even actually mention there is a strategic value stream really required. If there is no strategy, then there is no need for product. And I go and ask, okay, what is your product strategy for the next 2-3 years? What? Strategy? That's company level. Well, what is about your product strategy aligned with the corporate strategy? Right? So this is where the value flows. Value is at each and every one of those levels. It's not going to be at any one of those levels. It's going to be across all these levels. When you put all these things together, business value comes up. And this is where business agility is applicable, not in any one of those levels, in all the levels. So everybody is equally empowered and to be able to talk among each other to promote that. As a result, value differs from value stream. They are not the same. right? So value flows both vertically and horizontally. Don't think like, oh, I went through this Safe Scrum Master certification or Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master certification, so I focus only on this. I know everything about value. I don't disagree with that until you have come to my presentation, right? Now, let's take a look at some of these things, how it is applicable. Is Sriram actually smoking something completely, or is it all applicable here? This is Safe 6 that was recently released, Safe 6. According to Safe 6, if you look at this, that's where the actual business owners coming together, creating the business agility or value framework, like 3 years from now, we need you to be here, 2 years from now, we need you to be here. From there, we are creating the actual team-level backlog. From those team-level backlog, we are creating those smaller releases and iteration backlogs, and we continue to apply the CI/CD and stuff like that. And all the CI/CD are all coming towards the bottom line, right? When you take a look at all these elements, that is the infinity circle there. But there is also the infinity cycle at the top. And we need to make sure that we are connecting both of them. If these two things are not connected, then we are actually not benefiting from business agility. If the people at the strategy and operational streams are not getting connected with the development value stream that we are trying to do, who is benefiting? No one is, right? Let's take a look at PMI Disciplined Agile. When you look at they have the blade framework, like there is a foundation downstairs, and then they basically come back and say there is a disciplined DevOps, and then there is a value stream, and then there is going to be this Agile enterprise. I like the word discipline repeated over here, because we need to be disciplined about this. But look at this, again, the similar thought process over here. If you look at that particular section, that is going to be the disciplined DevOps thought process that we are all talking about. And you are talking at the next level, all these other things. And the same infinity cycles are coming up in multiple levels right there. And not only here, you can see here these two multiple levels of discussion, strategy to operations, operations to development. This is the reason why pre-PI planning or PI planning are all required in some of these scaled agile approaches, because we have to think about our one-year roadmap and how we are releasing that into single or multiple cadence. So these are not just pure words. There is a lot of interdependency associated with all these elements, right? So connecting these two important flows. Why the company exists to create this particular product, primarily you want to make sure that they're generating revenue, right? So profit is one of the motivation. The next one is if they don't do what they're supposed to do, they feel the market not correctly, they don't sense the market correctly and come up quickly and stuff like that, then there's going to be a loss. And the biggest connection between these two things, in my humble opinion, is the risk. If you don't factor risk into consideration, you're not going to be very successful. I have a book called Organized Common Sense. In that book, I say, if you don't manage risk, don't worry, risk will manage you, right? That's exactly the point I'm trying to, if you don't manage risk, you are going to be in trouble. So risk is about if you see it, say it. We have all heard this thing in multiple different places like transport locations, airports, and everywhere. Why? Because the law enforcement office cannot be present everywhere. So we need to be the eyes and ears of everywhere, anything that could be going wrong. And are we practicing that within our own product development? We there come back and say, well, that's not my responsibility. That is PO's responsibility. That is Scrum Master's responsibility. That's PM's responsibility. It's our responsibility. We need to move from the I thinking to we thinking to us thinking. Otherwise, we are still groups, QA group, engineering group, DevOps group. We are all different groups. We need to become like, this is my company. This is my product. Right? The same thing, if you feel it, express it. Sometimes you may not know what it is. But unless otherwise you talk about it, there's nobody going to know about it. Right? So talk about that. So value mapping, therefore, is a business exercise of not just one individual, and it's not done in iteration planning or release planning sessions alone. Right? So there is 4 important elements I come up with. One is called a customer value add. What's important for the customer? That is, if this value functionality is not present, the customer is going to move away from us, will not benefit from this product anymore. So that's the kind of thinking, like, why does the customer want this? Ask those 5 why, powerful questions that we talked about. The next one is more about the BVA or business value add. So if it's CVA, it's customer value add. It's BVA, business value add. Their business exists for a particular reason. So there needs to be auditability, traceability, compliance, documentation, many other reasons exist that we need. The customer doesn't care whether you are having a documentation or not. If you ever went and purchased a drug, from any particular, prescribed drug, there will always be this important safety information or medication guide that is associated with that. Well, if that is required to be part of the compliance consideration for you to get the product out to the market, well, then that needs to be part of the business value that you need to factor in. Oh, we don't want that because comprehensive documentation is against agility. Then you don't understand Agile Manifesto. Then we don't pay attention to those elements correctly. The next one is technical value add. We've been talking about infrastructure, the technical architecture, the IT foundation structures. We've been talking about this. We need to start thinking about how to do that. It's not like, oh, I went and attended an AWS class. I know how to create an EC2 machine, and how do I connect all these EC2 machines under the server load balancing. And oh, that's great. Great job. But do you really understand how that's working within the system of how we are doing CI/CD? If not, have we really done what we need to know from a technical value add perspective? The next one is process value add. There are some processes that are really required. How do I connect with the business value? How do I connect with the technical team members? What are the problems that the team members are facing? Maybe the single source of truth is not coming through. So whatever those processes needs to be, we have to focus on. So every user story that you have, can you tag them with CVA, BVA, TVA, PVA? If you are not focusing on any one of those things, I call them NVA, non-value add. This is where we are really busy, right? So if you take a look at some of these elements, I'm sure you will be thinking, like, how do I bring this all together, because it's really challenging. And this is where I came up with this concept of step. How do I step into business agility? So first, in order for you to do this, you need to have a strategic agility. Are we investing in the right relationship among the company? Do we know what the other teams are doing? Do we understand how they connect with us, right? That next one is going to be technical agility. And technical agility is pretty much everybody. We have been talking about, how do I do the unit testing? How do I do the code programming, collective code programming, and stuff like that. The next one is more about execution agility. Now, it's good to know who we know and what we need to do, but are we bringing all of them together? That's going to be the execution agility. Strategy is only good if it's going to be executed correctly. Otherwise, strategy is a very good thing that's written on the paper or digital document. The next one is program or portfolio level agility. The reason why I call it program or portfolio agility is you can still apply the same concept in a small or medium-sized organization, but portfolio level concepts don't exist. They only have programs. So I don't want anyone to come and say, oh, Sriram said this is for portfolio, it doesn't apply for us, and it doesn't work. It applies. When you put enough energy on all these 4 dimensions, then you are bringing business agility. Without any one of these focuses, you are not going to be putting business agility at all. It's only words, right? So let's break those 4 elements that I talked about. So competitive advantage is what strategy means, like 2 key words. So sensing the market. How do you sense the market? What are your feelers? If you feel like the product is yours, you will be talking about the product outside. But if you don't, we basically are saying, like, 85, I got to go put my time there and come out, right? We need to feel that this product is yours. The next one is going to be innovative culture. Culture, like I said, you are the one who is creating the culture that you want. What are the new information that you are bringing to the table? For instance, you are all attending this conference. What new information have you gathered that you are taking it back to your company? And say, I heard this, we should do that. I went to this booth, I saw that. You need to do that. Otherwise, what's the value? Right? The next one is risk management. If you do not do that, there is a risk. If you don't take a risk, it's still a risk. Right? So how do I prepare the capability? That means, how do I prepare the organization for the next level that they should be? Technical agility. focuses on business outcome. Please note that I did not say business output. Outputs are associated with deliverables which are broken down into tasks, but I said outcomes. In what way the deliverable that I have created makes business sense? Are we getting new customers? Are existing customers happy? Now, that kind of a thought process should be present. And how do I break that team-level agility? Can the team think in terms of the customers? One of the exercises that I normally do with agile teams is I will ask them, tell me the customer. Who is the customer for this product? Or the persona, or tell me about the customer. I don't hear a clear word of the customers that we use, or in this industry, in this particular type of people. We need to hear that out. Because if we don't know the customers, the product, that functionality that we will be releasing, or whatever somebody asked, right? So built-in quality is based upon knowing the customers, right? The next one is going to be continuous improvement. Again, how do you practice this in your daily life? How do you bring that thinking process? System thinking is an approach where we say, this is where I want to go, this is how I will go, this is how I will know I have reached there, where do I want to go, why do I want to go? Those are the 6 important questions that people ask to understand systems level thinking. But bring that thought process. Right? The next one is going to be, again, risk management. If you don't do those 2 things, you are introducing platform-level instability. Scaling without sustainability is actually providing instability. This is one of the reasons why we are seeing everything falling like a pack of cards. So execution agility. When you are focusing on the execution agility, doing the right things, that's about leadership. Doing the right thing is leadership. The next one is focusing on doing things right. That's about management. But pretty much all of us are focusing on only doing the right things, but not necessarily at a leadership level. Which is like, I am creating, as a leader, the culture that I want for my team and my business to succeed. I'm going to accomplish this by doing these things. Where is that statement? Right? Again, deliver predictability. If you don't deliver predictably, you're going to create a problem. And this is one of the reasons why Agile, talking about that sustainable pace is like, this sprint will be 1 week, the next one will be 13 days, or we will extend the sprint by 3 more days because we can finish this. Well, then how have you moved from those plan-driven, predictive approaches that we all call waterfall? Right? The 4th one is the program/portfolio level agility. We are in this game together. And how do we do this? How do we balance the risky impediments? In other words, when you have a requirement, what's the risk associated with delivering this or not delivering this? If we have a test cases that's going to test a set of requirements, what are the risks associated with those test cases? Not performing correctly. Right? How to resolve risks on quality? Now, what is the quality-related risk that you need to have? Is it people-related risk, or process-related risk, or technical risk? And I talked about a few of those things. We need to bring those things. There are several frameworks for this. There is PESLE, there is SWOT analysis, there is VRIO analysis. I won't go into the details, but there are many different frameworks that exist on how we can implement this. But do we at least practice one of them? The next one is going to be, how do I continuously improve the productivity? Productivity is doing more, better, cheaper, faster, and still happier for the same amount of time they already had. That's what portfolio level agility is when you are focusing on productivity. So how do I bring all these things together from people, process, and the business environment? We are all in this together. So some examples to illustrate over here. I'm bringing how Spira brings these thought processes here. So this is our product ecosystem. You have at the core of it, you have Spira Test, which expands it to Spira Team. That includes some additional modules to support the team level management. And then we have Spira Plan, which takes it to one more level that talks about risks, programs, portfolios, and multiple other things that we bring together. This is your technical and execution agility over there. right? Now, if you focus on the other areas, you are looking at the strategic and portfolio level agility in terms of how Spira plans, how Spira plans components, Spira teams components, and many other elements come and support this. This is how the whole ecosystem is configured. Now, a few important things. If you picked up my step, one of the important thing that weaved everything together was risk management. So risk is integral to business agility. As a result, how we actually identify risks. And how do we identify the impact of the risks on the work that we are doing, right? That's available right there in this diagram that I can show you here. The next one is, if you look at this one, there is going to be, if you look at this one, we are able to see at the program level. I talked about portfolio and programs, right? You are able to look at this from the program level in terms of what are some of the functionalities that we want at the program level, and how is that actually implemented by different product teams. Right? Here is an example of the planning board at the program level. You are able to see the program levels. I know it's very difficult to see over there. Those three different hexagons come together at the very top. That means it's a program. And I'm having the aviation platform here. And I'm actually showing the planning board. Right there, you are able to see those platform. And you are able to see all the different art and program level boards over there. And in SAFe and some other frameworks, we call them Kanban sometimes, primarily because you are moving them through the queue of planning, development, and stuff like that. So you see that right over there. This is at the program level. What are some of the big, hairy, audacious goals at that particular level that I'm bringing there, and how it's getting broken down by different products. And within the product level, I'm able to go inside the product level where the POs or the product manager for that particular group is looking at this and say, what's working, what's not working, how is it progressing, how is it not progressing. Just a few little screenshots alone here. From a technical ability, you have a connection to the development module. Now, this is not going to be, we are going to become an IDE, integrated development environment for you to develop another, the code right here. But whatever code you have, we are able to bring that in, and you are able to see how your program is functioning. So as a product manager or a product owner or project manager, Scrum Master, I may not have the technical knowledge to go inside Jenkins or GitHub and see who committed the code, is it built successful or not. I can see those things. But because I have connections to all these things, I'm able to see whether the build succeeded, who did the check-in, and what was the differences. So I can view these things. So the transparency, inspection, and adaptation, those are the three important pillars of agility, and we are able to bring that. Right? Now, execution agility, you are able to customize this. Most of the teams have their own means of, in my particular semiconductor industry, we do this. In the automation industry, we do this. In my particular product, I do it slightly differently. For change management, we follow something else. For requirements, we follow something else. There are approaches there. So we allow that customization right from the tool. So we meet your business processes wherever you are operating right now. And it's more execution agility. Here are my program level capabilities. I showed that in the Kanban board. Here are my capabilities at that level, and how I'm actually seeing this at the small product levels. Right? These are the elements that we are talking about. So portfolio level agility over here, more metrics. But the portfolio level, what do people want to see? How is my product performing? How is my program doing? Where is it stuck? Why is it stuck? So I want to drill down for more details. So I'll provide those information over here in this portfolio level agility right there. And there is this Gantt chart too that gives you a roadmap, a milestone level view of this is where it's supposed to start and end. This is how much it is progressing and where it is stuck and stuff like that. So it gives you that conversation starter in terms of what do we have to do to bring this project in the right fashion. Here are some of our representative customers that we are in multiple industries, and multiple customers in multiple domains are working with our products at this point. So bringing it all as a close, recognize that team and technical agility alone does not give you business agility. You need a lot more than that. Value is not going to be only with our development team alone. It is going both vertically and horizontally across the development, operational, and strategic value streams. Business agility has 4 important components. This is my step. And I went through the details behind each and every one of them, the strategic, technical, execution, and portfolio level agility that you need to bring them together. And finally, Inflectra family of products and their plugin ecosystem completely support the strategic, technical, execution, and portfolio level agility. And it supports the business agility as a result. Any questions for me? Okay. Yeah, can you repeat that question for me?
What he said was, in the survey, could it be that more people are taking on Agile, so the number of respondents is getting bigger, and that's why the quality is going down? Yeah. Well, as newer companies and respondents are being added over the years, right? And a lot of times, those companies that use Agile, doesn't that speak to some of these trends that we're seeing? I'm not sure if you can shed some light on that.
Definitely. I have had discussions with the State of Agile survey exactly on this particular topic. The State of Agile survey is not a very good, reliable, validated survey. In other words, there is no double-barrel questions, leading questions, things like that we have to have as part of a good survey design. This is not that, right? This is more of a professional survey that people said, like, okay, I'm going to create this survey and move ahead with this. The reason why I'm telling that is the data that you are using for every year after year, there is also new people that are coming in and old people that are going out, right? So there is going to be more or less the same size of the industries, the number of industries and stuff like that are pretty much the same, but number of actual players that are actually contributing is not necessarily the same. So there is, take it with a grain of salt. So your point is very, very true. So for those of you on the virtual conference, one of the questions that a member here asked is, in the State of Agile survey, the actual people that are taking, the number of people that are taking, or the organizations that are taking, they could be different from one year to another year, and could that be one of the reasons for this? And what I'm trying to tell is that very well could be one of the reasons for this. Nevertheless, there are also new players as well as exit of the old players. As a result, you are able to see more or less the same truth to that index. That being said, I only look at certain patterns that I can focus on with reasonable data accuracy. There are tools that State of Agile come and say, this particular tool is the top of the list. And if those of you that have taken the State of Agile survey, if you look at this, they give you a list of 15 or 20 or 25 different tools that you can check from. And when you put other, there is no other box to say what is that other tool. So in what way new tools that are coming up will ever make it to that thing? So this is not completely don't take everything with this is the gospel, but take it with a grain of salt. Did I answer your question? Yes, double thumbs up. Thank you. Any other questions? We are still here, Inflectra booth, number 1 in the expo. So please come see us, and there is some demos that we can do real quick. We can gather more information and provide you additional support as well. But it's been a great pleasure talking with all of you. I am available here if you need to come and talk to me. And Adam already left a swag for all of you guys. Please make sure that you're getting the swag as well. Thanks, everyone.